things just kept trying to come in. So I'll start out by saying that, you know, funny things happen. And they say, you know, history repeats itself and so on. But you remember, I know you've heard of Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, on Sunday morning, they sneaked in, attacked, and just about took us all out. But in Korea, it was the same situation. On a Sunday morning, on June, on June 24th, 1950, the North Koreans attacked South Korea. And South Korea, as far as military, didn't have much really left from World War II. They had a few rock soldiers and a few American trainees, so to speak, that were there. So they overran South Korea pretty fast. They took over Seoul, then they took over Daegu. Of course, now South Korea is only about, either the Korean Peninsula itself is only about 75 miles across, width-wise. But length-wise, I would say it's probably 500 miles. But they came on down to Daegu, and they actually just about pushed us off the Pusan. And then MacArthur counterattacked at Incheon, and went in and cut the supply lines off. And they couldn't get the artillery and stuff, so we started a push in. We captured, I don't know, thousands of North Koreans there. And then we pushed them right on back up to the Yellow River. And we're hoping to be out of there by December 1950. But that didn't happen. We were caught up at the Yellow River and surrounded by the Chinese. The Chinese got in there. And they were coming at you by the thousands. I mean, you could sit right down and burn a machine gun up, and they kept coming. And those guys were trapped. And it was, the winter time was 30 below zero and 45 below zero. Can you imagine? It was cold. It was cold. And they fired those little machine guns so that you warm your hands. And that was the only warmth you had. Of course, you had to try to keep warm. I myself, I had on a pair of long johns, if any of you folks know what they are. A pair of long johns, wool long johns, and then I had a pair of wool pants over top of that, and then I had a pair of fatigues over top of that, and then I had a pair of field pants over top of that, and then I had a parka pant. So we were loaded. If you fell down, you probably couldn't hurt yourself. But the only part about you that was really exposed to the weather was your face and your nose. Now, ice froze all around your face from your breath. It was so cold. And you didn't have anywhere to lay down and go to sleep. Of course, some of the guys got killed that way. They were fortunate enough to have a sleeping bag, and got in a sleeping bag and went to sleep, and the Chinese come up and killed them. And bam, that was it. In one particular area, the Chinese were so outnumbered us so much, they overran the position. We loaded the wounded and the dead in sleeping bags into a 2 1/4 truck. That's 2.5 tons. 3 truckloads. They had to leave them. And one guy was wounded in the legs, and he stayed in that truck 3 days with the dead. But he wasn't dead. And the Chinese came back through, and they were feeling of their bodies in the truck to make sure that everybody was dead. But they felt his body and they were warm. So one got up at the front of the truck, and the other one got in the back with a submachine gun. And started shooting. And he said he remembered back home. Excuse me, Miss Frank.
Just take time.
That when you went to church, you thought about those old songs that were singing. And just by coincidence, one of the bullets has grazed his scalp. And just the will to live, he managed to work his way out of that truck by just his elbow. Of course, his legs were wounded, and he fell on the ground on the hard, frozen ice. And he knew which direction to go. He knew where South Korea was, and he started pulling himself by his elbow across. And so happens that Colonel Bill's Jeep driver and mechanic was sent up in that area to see what they could find to survive. And they found this guy. And they put him in a Jeep, carried him back to the aid station. They flew him out of there on a helicopter to Japan. And the doctor said there's no need of messing with him, he's going to die. Well, he didn't. They flew him to California. Doctors operated on him, took both legs off, took all the fingers off of both hands. But he lived. He said, here I am. Just that will to live. He said, I came home, got married, and had 7 children, got 20 grandchildren. Just that will to live. Just that will to live, folks. I'll say this, war is hell, children, I ain't kidding you. And one of the worst things about it, though, is the little children. Parents killed. I remember when I went through, left in China and was going through Seoul, on up to 38, the little kids running alongside the road begging for food. Parents dead. Didn't have nowhere to go. Nobody to look after them. They finally organized an orphanage and they picked up all these kids. This was later on. But I was mostly involved around Pork Chop. You ever heard of Pork Chop Hill in Korea? That was one bad place. Pork Chop, Old Baldy, Triangle Hill, 347, 200, and Alligator Jaws. We had names for all those hills. They even had one named Marilyn Monroe. And I guess you could throw that in for the courage, you know. This picture right here was taken after the North Koreans pushed through that town and they killed everybody that was in there. The 400 bodies that we found right there like that. Dead, they killed them all. They figured that most of the people were sympathizers and they got rid of everybody. And this is actually the way it was in those trenches up on the field. If you look close, you'll see one of those guys don't even have, he's just got his t-shirt on. But he's got that steel helmet on. And that was a lifesaver. Now we washed our face, we shaved, we cooked, we've done about anything you can think of in that helmet. In the daytime. Now at nighttime, you couldn't have a flicker of fire, nothing anywhere, because they could see it. If you want to get shot, just strike a match. Because they were right out there in front of us. Of course, I ran a lot of patrols. I was stuck into that's just a picture of the terrain how it was. It was rough. When I got there, they put me in a recon outfit. And you know what a recon outfit is? Reconnaissance, intelligence and reconnaissance. And every two days or so, they would send us out to a suspected position of heavy gun emplacement or ammo dumps to find out where it was at and what they were doing. I have slipped around out there at night. We traveled at night. We couldn't afford to get out in the daytime. But we traveled a lot at night, and so many times I have been out there at night and those North Koreans almost step on my hand when they walk by. That's just how close I was to them. And one morning, me and this one particular fellow, we were running this recon, and it was just about daybreak. And we almost got captured. We came into what we call a heavy gun emplacement, and they went to firing on our lines with those guns. They didn't know that we were there, but they started firing on our lines. And we were close enough so that just a few more feet and they would have got us. But we slipped back. We had what they call a little Perk 6 radio. And he static so bad we were afraid to use it close because they could pick it up. Well, we got pretty much out of their range. And we called back, and you got a little map with the coordinates on it. So we called back to headquarters to relay the message, and we told them where the gun emplacement was. And so they zeroed in, but we had to stay there until we had to tell them, you know, so many 100 feet right, so many 100 feet left, or 100 yards forward. Then when we got them zeroed, we hollered fire for effect, and they let them have it. But we managed to get out of there, and so many times we come so close to getting captured. But I thank the good Lord, man, did it done. But this was another picture that I had of mostly terrain. And if you'll see right there, son, that was where a 500-pound bomb hit. See the crate? And this is all trenches here, and trenches on top of those hills. And that's where we live. That's one night line, artillery service. And we ran those patrols. At least we ran them sometimes twice a week and sometimes just once a week. But when we were called down to G3 to go out on those patrols, they told us where we would leave from, what part of the MLR, which was the main line of resistance, what company was there that we were to go through, and where we were to come back through that, and what the password was supposed to be at that time. A lot of times when we went out and you were gone like a day or two, and you got back, the password had changed. And you had a hard time convincing those guys on that main line of resistance who you were. They would ask you, where you from, what was the capital of the country, of the city you were from, what was the population, who was the president, who was the vice president, who was your senator. And they, you know, you didn't get close enough for it. You had to kind of holler. You were at least 25 or 30 feet away. You finally would convince them, though, and they would let you through. But the last there, I told the fellow 9 months, 10 days, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I was so glad to get out of that place. Because we got paid $78 a month. The military at that time was paying $78 a month. And we were getting $45 a month combat pay. Imagine putting your life on for $45 a month. Now, as far as food, all we had was dry rations or K rations. You had no cooked food. You had a little tablet about the size of a nickel that you could drag a match to and act like a gas burner or something. And you could open a can of those beans and hold it over it, and it would heat it up for you. But as far as, you know, sanitary or what have you, sometimes you went months or 2 without a bath. You didn't have nowhere to take a bath. That's why you wound up with French feet, stuff like that. So your feet would actually, your skin would actually rot off of them. For the mud, now in the summertime, it was hot, humid. You had 2 extremes. You had extremely hot weather and you had extremely cold weather. But it was terrible. I'm here to tell you, I'm a survivor. I said, I'm going to make it out of this place. And after I'd been there about 8 months, the commander came around and he told me, said, the chaplain wants to see you. He said, And there'd be a Jeep waiting on you in the back of the hill. So I went down back of the hill, got in the Jeep, the driver was there, and he took me back to headquarters. And when I got to headquarters, went over to the chaplain's hut, and he told me, he said, son, I hate to tell you this, but your father died and was buried 4 days ago. You can't go home. But you don't have to go back to the line right now. You can go back tomorrow. But it didn't matter with me then if I couldn't go home. I would just soon go back then. But I waited until the next day, and then I had to burn my ride back up there. You just about walked everywhere you went over there. You didn't ride in a Humvee. And as I say, you know, the hygiene was tough. Where would you get water at that was decent enough to take a bath in? It wasn't there. Well, nothing but muddy rivers. And most of the bridges in those rivers were blown out at that time. And we could take, the boys did, they were hauling ammo up there, and they tied those old trucks together to do some quarters, chained them together. Because the ones that were on dry land would push those trucks through the mud, and the ones that was on the other side would help pull them out. It was like a train. And that's the way it was. The tanks, in the wintertime, when the ground was frozen, they could move back pretty good. But in the summertime, when you had them, they would get stuck in a few seconds. And with most of the tanks had a bulldozer blade in front of them. And that was to push to make a little road. As I say, the roads weren't no concrete roads, it was just dirt paths mostly. And that tank would push its way around the hill, making them a little road. From Hill 200, where I was at, they would come around and have a shooting. He would come around where he could see North Korea. And he would shoot several rounds. Then he would throw it in reverse and back around behind the hill to get out of the range of their guns. And then he would pull back around and shoot it again, then he would back up. But I had a friend from Concord. That was the first guy I met when I got over there. Of course, we had walking for 25 or 30 miles, and when we walked into the trenches, there was nothing but trenches. And they were head deep. Everybody wants to know where you're from. I said, well, I'm from a little town out of Raleigh, North Carolina, Zebulon. And this guy laughed all day. He said, whoa, got another North Carolina boy here. That's my buddy. I'm from North Carolina. And he was from Concord. Of course, he died in 77. He got out of there before I did, just a little while. And as soon as I got home, I went to visit him a little bit. But he had an automobile accident. He got killed in 77. But children running those patrols was bad. I ran into 2 ambushes while I was out there. During the time that I was there, we would go out on an ambush patrol. An ambush patrol consists of 12 men. And 3 of the men in my squad, one particular night, got killed. We ran into an ambush ourselves. They were waiting for us. And then on Port Chop Hill, I believe we were ambushed. We had 26 men. And I believe there were 6 that were walking back. And I was one of those. And that's where that Bronze Star came from. That's some of the medals that I got when I was over there. And the most precious thing that I ever got was a letter from home. And you might get it once a month. Because everybody was afraid to come up to that MLR. They were afraid. We were on Hill 200. And they had a whole company of men on that hill. And you might lose so many that you couldn't hold that position. So what they would do, they would send up another company at night to take your place. And you could move off. They would move you off to go back to the rear line and get the credit field back up, get more men. And then, when we moved the pork chop, as I said a few minutes ago, they almost got us. Of course, everybody else that had been up on pork chop would tell you the same thing. They were just slaughtering. They were coming at you by the thousand, blowing whistles and everything else to get their hands up. And I think most of them, a lot of them were doped up. They didn't know what they were doing, really.
Hey,
The North Koreans.
they were doped up.
Yeah, and the Chinese. Some of the guys found a lot of paraphernalia, as they called it, I guess. I don't know what it was at that time, because it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. They didn't know themselves what it was. But anyway, they were pure wild. They didn't know what they were doing. But they didn't mind just coming at you or whatever they had to do. You're going to get killed, and then you're going to kill them. But I learned to shoot every kind of a weapon military made. But the most finest thing I ever saw, there was a Chinese burp gun. I'm not particularly fond of guns now, and I guess you can understand that. In fact, I've got one in my house, but I don't hardly know where it's at myself. Because I've seen enough guns and what they'll do to kill you. But this burp gun, we captured some, went back for a demonstration, and we cut a piece of cardboard, silhouette like a man, and posted it out there, and took that burp gun and swung it from right to left and held the trigger. 18 bullets hit it from shoulder to shoulder. That's how fast that thing would fire. And you could hear it at night, and you know somebody was getting hurt bad. It didn't sound like a machine gun or anything. It sounded like a buzz light. That's just a way of saying it. And while I was in that intelligence reconnaissance outfit, they would put us in with a company online. And because we knew where a lot of stuff was that the rest of the soldiers didn't know, for the information that we had picked up. And when we would go out on the patrols, all we had was a little map and a compass and some dry rations. Now, we knew where Sackville was. If we didn't have that little compass, we wouldn't know where it was at. We made sure we were pointed in the right direction when it said go home. A lot of times, you know, a lot of them didn't make it back. Didn't make it back. It was tough. I remember one afternoon, late afternoon, we came in. We had a certain place to be picked up after running one of those patrols, recon, to get our information we had back to G2. There was a Jeep waiting for us. So when we made it through the MLR and back to a pickup area, the North Koreans could see that Jeep, see the dust from it going across that valley. And they would start shelling you. And that particular time we came back in, shell hit up front of the Jeep, shell hit at the back of the Jeep, the next one hit right in front of the Jeep, blew out both front tires, broke the windshield out, and the driver got a piece of shrapnel in his forehead, but he didn't stop. We kept pointing, and that Jeep got us back. Safe, because the next one would have been in our pocket. And that's just how it was. Now, to get to Pork Chop Hill, a lot of the men had to go in a PC, which we call a personnel carrier, because the artillery was so bad you could never make it there. They would kill you before you got there. Now, the only protection we had a armored vest that they call it. It was a little vest for your chest. It was like a fiberglass. Now, it would stop shrapnel, because I've been knocked down several times by shrapnel that hit this vest. If it had not been for this vest, I'd have probably been dead. And the steel helmet. I had one in my truck, but I left it out there. Old original steel helmet. I have seen those steel helmets with bullet holes in them that the soldier didn't survive, but I've seen them with bullet holes that they did survive. Because if he hit it at the right angle, That bullet went in, circled around that helmet and fell out. It never hit the scalp.
You want me to go get it?
No, you leave it out there, honey. Pretty heavy. It was pretty heavy. The first one I ever put on was the heaviest thing I had on my head. But I'll tell you something, it got to be like a ball cap. It got to be like a ball cap. Because you never took it off your head. If you sit down in that trench and take a nap, it stayed on your head. Can you imagine living in a trench? Living there, rain, shine, sleet, snow. That's the way you live. You survive. Yes, ma'am. Do you have your hand there? Okay.
Where did you get drinking water? Where did you get drinking water?
We had a little canteen, as you know, on the belt. But we also had a, what they call a water bag. At the, CP, company CP. It was just a little bag that would break it up from the back of the trucks. But that was just for drinking, it wasn't for baths.
So they brought water in to
Yeah,
drink.
raw water in. And you also had a little purification tablets with you. If you couldn't get to water, you got what water you could out of the river and so on and dropped those tablets in there.
Okay. I was gonna say, you said all the water was very dirty, and I just wondered how you got drinking water, especially being...
That is the filthiest place I've ever been in my life, I'll be honest with you. Now, there were dead bodies, and I'm not kidding. There were dead bodies, mostly North Korean, laying out there, had been there forever so long, decaying. Because they didn't seem to care. Now, we buried a lot of North Koreans. They didn't seem to care about those people. But we never, if possible, left an American out there. And they, way back at the rear, they, where they were raising those rice in the rice paddy, they fertilized that rice with human waste. And I have been out there laying in them rice paddies all night long with that water about 6 inches deep. And that's what you had to do. That's what you had to do. And if you had to go to the bathroom and you went on, you were already filthy anyway, so what the matter? You certainly were not going to stand up because you were dead if you did. And that's just the way it was. It was hard, it was rough. But I understand now that over in Iraq, of course, the boys get killed every day too. But they got parking lots to live in. They got places to take showers. And the only time we had a shower was when we come back offline, when they pulled our company offline. We went back to a little area that they had took 55-gallon drums and set up on a platform and hose water to a sprinkler light where you get on like a shower head. You could get under there and take a shower and it felt good. It felt good. Felt like you were taking a layer of skin off, of filth.
Did you get your uniforms washed too?
The only thing we had, like I say, was, fatigues. And you done your own washing if you did any. And it was rough. I'm so glad that I don't know how much. Pretty good Lord, I said. Here I am over here, a young man, and he had a girlfriend, and here I am over here, don't let it kill me while I'm here. And it didn't. And once I made up my mind, really, a lot of times when I was out there on the patrol, they're not going to capture me, they're going to have to kill me. And they did a lot of fellows, and most of it was execution style. They tied their hands behind them and killed them, shot them in the head. They were terrible people.
Did you get drafted or did
Yes,
you?
I sure did. I didn't volunteer, that's true.
And how old were you?
I was 20. But, I look back and it was an experience that I wouldn't take nothing for, but I certainly wouldn't go back. I don't want no more of that, that's for sure. I had 6 brothers. My 2 older brothers and 1 younger than I am have passed and gone on. Then that one next to the oldest one was in the Marines. But he was in like from after World War II, 46, 7, and 8. And then had a younger brother who was in the MPs. Then I had another brother, but he was in Germany. And I had another brother, Isaiah. He never left the States. He was up in Maryland, stationed in Maryland, whatever. But I was the only one who got shot at. And if I was younger and, got called, I'd probably do it again. Because here we are living in a free country, and you think about all those fellows that have died for that. Any questions? Yeah.
How long did you stay in the war?
I stayed over there 9 months, 10 days, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I said 2, I made up that, but it was 9 months. You got 4 points a month. You got 4 points a month if you were online. If you were online, front line, you got 4 points a month. And you could rotate with 36 points. And if you were 1 mile behind line, you got 3 points a month. And if you were 2 miles back, you got 2 points a month. Some of them guys had to stay 18, 24 months. But I made it out of there. Now we went in, I went in at Incheon. But the mud flats at Incheon, it was so muddy that ships couldn't go in at low tide. Had to wait till high tide come in. Then we got on a landing craft. You seen them with the front end that comes in. So that's what we went in on. And from there, up to the 38th parallel and beyond was the territory that I dropped my feet on. But when he called my name to get out there and rotate, you could probably heard me over here. I was so glad to get out of there. And to come home, well, when I got home, Dad was gone. Of course, my mom was still living, and she lived to be 81 years old. She died in 1981. She was an angel. Of course, my younger brothers, I know they were worried about leaving us over there because I get those letters and, I think about home. And my brothers and sitting by a warm stove at night, and there was when it freezing. So what have I done to deserve this? A good place to sleep, and me over there with no place to sleep. Terrible, but here I am back home and got married to a wonderful woman, Mildred. She's been with me 50 years this coming September. And I told some of the fellows, I said, the first time I met that lady, I said, the first time I kissed her, she said, where did you learn to kiss like that? I said, cycling gas out the track. Put her back in motion. And she's been with me ever since. So I have 1 daughter and I got 2 little wonderful grandchildren. Chris, one of them. Chris is the oldest, the other one is 4 years old. But he's a pistol. And I love him. I hope they never have to go through what I've been through. Never. Because it's terrible. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What branch were you in, like Army?
I was in the Army.
Mhm.
I was in the Army. I learned a lot in those 2 years.
So you were actually in the Army for 2 years? So you spent a lot of time training before you went over? Or?
Yeah, we spent like 8 to 12 weeks before Jackson, South Carolina. And I told her at that time, I said, this is the toughest training I've ever been through because Mom and Dad never did treat me this bad, huh? My old platoon sergeant, he kicked me one day hard for being a rat step. Hadn't quite learned to do that, keep in step. And I said right then to myself, if I ever see you again, what goes around comes around. So to be honest with you, when I came home and went back to Fort Benning, Georgia, who should I run into? He remembered it, and I did too. He probably hadn't forgotten.
Oh. You kept your word, huh?
Yeah. But when we came back, when I came back home, they sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia. And what I did there was, I had like 6 months, 8 months left. And they put us in like a help train the recruit come in, which was good. We already been through it, and we knew what they were going to face. And made a lot of friends, lost a lot of friends. I still got some here in North Carolina that took basic training with me, and they still didn't. They went overseas, a couple of them. One of them was from Wilson. He got part of the flip blown off less than 30 days when we were there. Fort Chop-Hill. And the guy from Hertford did the same thing. I don't know where he got shot or what it was, but he got injured anyway. I was lucky enough to, as close as I ever come to getting killed or getting wounded, I got a few little flesh wounds. Like when the mortars were going off so close to you, the fragments of those mortars, and even the dirt on the ground would penetrate the skin. That's how close it was. And it was minor though, nothing major. It might put you out of commission for a day or so and try to get your hearing back. Them chills were deafening. I mean deafening. And my friend from Baylor, I had a friend from Baylor, Ed Glover. And on the patrol one night, on that flak jacket, it had 8 hooks on it, had 4 on each side of your chest. That was to hang a grenade on. And one night he ran into an ambush out there, Ed did, he was in King County. And somehow or another, a bullet hit one of those grenades. Did you know it didn't go off? The next morning, he was solid black on his chest, with the pressure bruised him. And he would too, because I've been black and blue myself with the fragments of some of those shells. Hit that vest that I had on. And I mean, it would knock you whining too. Knock you, I don't know, 8 or 10 feet. And when the fragment of those shells come and hit you, that piece of slag was red hot. Like a red hot piece of metal that hit you. It didn't cut you, it burned you. And napalm was another thing that just came into mind. Napalm was deadly. I don't know if your kids ever heard of napalm or not, but napalm was deadly. If you got some on you, you couldn't put it out. You got some on your hand, it would burn through and drop out on the other side, and you couldn't put it out. You got some on your arm anywhere, it just kept right on burning. It was a jelly type stuff. And I have seen those jet planes come down over there and drop that stuff on the North Koreans. But those jet planes would be in, dropped his bombs and gone before you could hear, before the sound got to you. But some of the bravest men over there was those mid-copter pilots. They were sitting in nothing but a glass bowl. And he had 2 litters, one on each side of that glass bowl. And when you were getting the wounded front line, they would call for mid-copter. And you could hear him coming, but you couldn't see him. He was flying so close to the ground. Of course, he knew where you were at. And he made it a point to get up there as quick as he possibly could. Set that chopper down And we strapped 2 wounded on and hung the blood plasma up there, and you better get out of the way. Because the tail of that plane was coming around, and he was gone. They saved a many a life. Of course, they lost a lot too. They got shot down. And those little liaison planes, I saw them, remember those go down. I don't know why they were so, I won't say stupid, but you flying over enemy lines in a little Piper Cub taking pictures, you can't make it. And I told Shorty, that's what I called my buddy Gaston, I said, Shorty, he'll never make it. He was out on, we had 2 outposts called Arsenal and Erie. They were hot places like Fort Chop. Out in front of the MLR, you had to go through the valley to get to it. How we made it, I don't know. We moved off of Arsenal one night. We had lost down to not enough men to hold the place. Company commander, he called for replacements, and the company moved in at night. They came out with a open personnel carrier, made like a tank, but the driver was under a hatch. But the center of it was to throw equipment and stuff in. It was open. So the company commander came out and he told me, he said, you go out with the equipment when they throw it on there. So when he got it loaded after dark, I hopped up on there, and the driver, he was under that hatch, and we were going across that valley. Back to the main line of resistance. And the exhaust pipes on that thing were just as red as a cigarette lighter. And they could pick that up at night. Then they would start shelling at nighttime. And we were coming up on the other side, we come to that valley, and he wasn't killing up no time. And I was trying to hang on back there on the cross. We come around that little narrow road, just a path more like. Got about halfway upside that mountain, and the track dropped off side of the mountain. And it stopped. But when it did, I was already in gear. I was 50 yards ahead of that thing running. And the driver had to get out of the hatch, and he hollered, hey, wait for me. I wasn't waiting for nobody. I was trying to get back to the safety of that MLR. But we went back and got a armored bulldozer. And I mean, it was covered in armor, except that little bitty hole up there where you could see to keep out of the driver. Went up and pulled that tank back on the road and got it back in. A lot of times, and I can tell you about things that happen and be here all day long. I tell you things that come back to mind that had left years ago. Some of it I don't remember, then a lot of it, you know, it just comes to mind now and then. And I've heard a lot of fellas say, you know, they were, you know, shell shocked and stuff like that. Now, a lot of times, and my wife will tell you this, she's probably got some bruises on her. Because I have dreamed and Joe was coming in the trenches trying to kill me, and I was beating on her. And she would always say, what's the matter, huh? I said, what happened? I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's just the way it is. But I always come back. I said, you remember this? First time I saving gas out of that truck. And she laughs. And we go on. But she is a special lady. I wish you could see her feel and meet her. She's something else. And I'm certainly a lot like the guy was telling me, these 2 fellas went down to the draft board of well and told the lady, said, give me a gun and give me some ammunition, give me 4 grenades. I want to go over there and kill all them jokers. And I said, you're crazy. He said, write it down. He didn't want to go. He said, write it down. So they will make me leave. Any other questions, children?
Any
I
questions?
appreciate your time. Enjoyed talking to you, even though sometimes that memory comes back and it's tough to handle, but I'm here. Other guys aren't.
Let's give them a round of applause.
brother and his wife.
Aaron and Amy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good folk.
Yes, they are wonderful people.
Aaron is a tall boy.
Very tall.
Yeah. I used to look down at him.
Daddy, nay, not.
Yes. That's right.
This is Granddaddy and his army helmet. There we go.
This canal leads to the Intercoastal Waterway down here and to the right. Low tide.
That's enough, Jared. Lift the door up. Lift the door up.
See the joy that's been happening all week. Holden Beach, North Carolina. It's funny. That won't good.
Yeah, it's just so wet.
I told him to swear to have my pocket.
Hey, that was a great picture.
Turn that camera on. Like this thing.
You are not. Go get a towel.
I don't have.
Such love.